This is Dish and Dirt with Gary Pickren, South Carolina's only podcast dedicated to the real estate agent craft. And now, the host of Dish and Dirt, Gary Pickren.
Hey, greetings. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Dish and Dirt. I'm your often opinionated but rarely wrong host, Gary Pickren, coming to you from the beautiful downtown Columbia, South Carolina offices of Blair, Cato, Pickren, Castelline. This, the third or fourth week of January 2025. So it's getting away from us very, very quickly. Before we begin our show today, let's talk about the 2025 Real Estate Success Summit on January 20th. Happy to announce that it is sold out. Sold out about 2 weeks prior to the event. First time that has ever happened, and we're very excited. I think it has to do with the great speakers that we have set, as well as the great location that the event's going to be held at. If you are still interested in going, email kate@blaircato.com, and she will take a waiting list. And anybody who lets us know they're not going to be able to go and want to turn their ticket in, we'll connect you to so that you can come to the event. But it is sold out. I do want to thank our sponsors this year. We have some incredible sponsors as always. WFG National Title Insurance, Palmetto Mortgage are our general sponsors. Executive Construction is our stage sponsor. Blue Trust is a lunch sponsor. Great Southern Homes will be the drink sponsor. Burris Ridgeway is our music sponsor. And then our prize sponsors are Jeffco Pest Control, SIC Insurance, Heron Insurance, Birch Builders, and Columbia Craft. All great companies that you need to be doing business with. They are investing in your future by sponsoring this event so that we can get the best speakers here and give you the best chance to grow your business in 2025. So return the favor and help them by helping them grow their business. All right, let's move into our top 10 Dish and Dirt predictions for 2025. We're going to go all over the place and talk about what I see happening in 2025, whether it's the market, whether it's clear cooperation and things like that. Even my last prediction will be a little bit of fun. So we're just going to start with number one. Again, these are in no particular order. These are just the list compiled here by Dish and Dirt, me as your host. Of course, there's no pari-mutuel betting on any of these, so please keep your bets to yourself. But let's go ahead and look at our top 10 predictions. So the number one prediction I see for 2025 is that clear cooperation will survive. I think it will barely survive, but it will survive the onslaught of attacks and legal procedures moving around it. Many of the big brokerage firms are going to continue to push as hard as they can to get rid of it. A lot of these $1 million listing type agents, they're going to push to get rid of it because they're trying to get rid of the small agents, consolidate business, make you have to work for them in order to see the business. And I think that pressure is going to continue all throughout 2025. But I think that ultimately it will survive because consumer advocate groups have recognized that clear cooperation is the best at promoting transparency and fairness in the market, and it's the best at preventing fair housing issues. So I think the consumer advocates will win the day ultimately in this. I think secondly, you have a lot of real estate agents. In fact, it seems that when they ask the question properly, the majority of the real estate agents don't want to get rid of clear cooperation. It's when they talk about little particular aspects of it, they seem to sometimes try to manipulate the numbers a little bit, in my opinion. But the reality of it is, I think that the vast majority of agents do favor some form of clear cooperation. And then obviously you have the tech-driven companies. You think Zillow, they truly want this to continue because they see the beneficial online presence that it creates in these platforms. So Zillow's got a lot of money. They got a lot of lobbying, and I think they're going to hold the day for you as well. The bottom line is, we all know, as I've mentioned on multiple podcasts, it is a fair housing nightmare to get rid of clear cooperation. So I think when we look at it, the policymakers will not get rid of it. Inman News asked Amy Lessinger, president of RE/MAX, what she thought about clear cooperation. She said the policy was designed to ensure that listings are accessible to everyone, and I believe that core principle, fairness and transparency, remains vital. That said, the industry is evolving, so could there be an opportunity for reform? I think there's room to have a thoughtful discussion about improving the policy to better serve buyers, sellers, and agents while preserving its intent. I agree with her. I think that it is best to keep clear cooperation. I think there will be a movement to make some reform, but I do believe it will survive just in a modified form. NAR simply cannot walk away from the fair housing issues that it presents, but there will be a lot of pressure to do something about it, and I think that pressure will continue. Number two, broker to broker. This is a big prediction. Will end in 2025. I believe that you have seen the beginning of the end of broker-to-broker compensation. If you look at what this lawsuit's all about, the Sitza Burnett case, It was all about the listing agent being involved in what compensation the buyer's agent received. And as I've said before, I see absolutely no reason a listing agent needs to be involved in compensation on the buyer side at all. A listing agent should simply tell the seller, this is my fee to sell your house. That's what I'm going to charge, and this is what you'll owe me when the house is sold. As to whether or not you want to help the buyer pay a portion of their real estate commission or all of it, that will be for you, the buyer, and the seller to determine at the time the contract is being offered. And I believe that we're going to continue to see this. EXP led this charge when they came out in August of 2024 with their version of compensation, which did not include any broker-to-broker comp. A lot of the smaller agencies that feel totally exposed right now, they're moving away from broker-to-broker comp. And I think we're going to continue to see this, particularly as a new administration comes in and NAR continues to look at these policies. I think you're going to see that broker-to-broker comp goes away. A lot of people I've talked with, real estate commission otherwise, they also believe it's going to go away. They think more of a 3 to 4 year period. I think it's going to be accelerated, and I think it will go away in 2025. Number 3, the DOJ will back off NAR, but not totally. We have a new administration coming in. Obviously, the old administration hated real estate agents. Trump is wanting to undo a lot of what has been done over the past 4 years. He is also a real estate man, so we have to look at that as positives. But what we don't know is what is his feelings about real estate agents. He was mainly in a commercial field, and he's always looking to cut costs and always looking for efficiencies. So does he take the position that real estate agents help with that or hurt that or hinder that? Pam Bondi was asked during her confirmation hearings whether or not she would continue to go after antitrust violators, and of course she said she was. But what else do you expect her to say? You're not going to expect somebody sitting for that position, the Attorney General's office, to go, no, we're going to let people commit antitrust violations all over the place and we have no interest in them. She has to say, yes, we're going to go for them. And remember, a lot of people say that, fine, go after the antitrust, but these issues with NAR are not truly antitrust issues. Senator Grassley from Iowa asked her, he says, enforcing antitrust laws is extremely important to ensure that markets are fair and that consumers are protected. I've been active in making sure the Justice Department and the Federal Trade Commission carefully scrutinizes mergers and that they look for anti-competitive behavior and predatory practice. I keep a close eye on those issues as they impact my state of Iowa and particularly our agriculture, healthcare, technology industries. And I'm interested in your commitment to make antitrust enforcement's priority. Nowhere in there did he ask the question about real estate. So, of course, she's going to look to protect and antitrust in healthcare and technologies and agriculture. So her comment was antitrust enforcement was a priority when she was a state AG, and it will continue to be a priority if confirmed. Again, I don't know how that necessarily applies to real estate. And I think a lot of people are jumping to the conclusion that, well, she's going to be antitrust warrior again, so that means we're in trouble. I don't see that. I think there will be some backing off of the DOJ, but that remains to be seen how much. I don't think it'll be totally, but I do think they will back up. Number 4, not a big surprise here. We've talked about this. I've done a full hour-long or half an hour-long podcast on this. The real estate year of 2024 will be the best real estate year since 2021. Now, how do we know that? I've done a full podcast on it, but when NAR says there's 9% growth as their prediction, I think it's going to be much higher than 9%, 13, 14%. NAR is usually very moderate on how they do their predictions. They don't go crazy and say 12, 15, 16% to turn around and have 2 or 3% growth. So I think that the 9% is legitimate, and I think that even the bearish of the predictors are all saying 3 or 4%. So 3 to 9, I'm thinking it's more like we could have double-digit growth, particularly here in South Carolina, because as we mentioned last week's podcast, everyone's moving to South Carolina because it's the best place in the country to live. Robert Revkin, who is the CEO of Compass, actually said something that was very interesting I didn't know. If you look at 10 of the last 11 presidential elections, the year following it saw an increase in sales. So that right there should tell you we should have an increase of sales, and everything seems to be lining up in that way. So it looks good. Plus, there's just this feeling in the air right now. I don't know what it is, but every time I talk to a real estate agent, whether it's Greenville, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, Spartanburg, Columbia, Lexington, it doesn't matter. Wherever we talk to agents, they're all telling me the same thing. They feel something's different. They feel it in the air. They think things are changing. So prediction number 4 is we're going to have a very good year in 2024, and it'll probably be the best year we've had since COVID. Number 5, I believe you're going to see some changes to the rules that you have to be a realtor to join the MLS. As I've mentioned before on this podcast, I was kind of taken aback when I wanted to get access as a broker. I have a broker's license. I wanted to have access to MLS and things of that nature. And I was told in order to join the various MLSs that were realtor controlled, you had to be a member. I always thought you could join as a non-member and get access, but that's not the case. And so I think what you're going to see, we're already seeing this pushback in Arizona, a lot of other places, is you're starting to see pushback that the realtor should not be able to force you to be a realtor in order to get access to the MLS. I agree. I am not forced to be a member of the American Bar Association so I can have access to the tools to practice law. I'm not a member of the American Bar Association because I think it's nothing more than a political organization and it does nothing for lawyers. So why do I have to join the realtors to be a member of the MLS? I see tremendous value in being a realtor. I'm a member of the Realtor Association. My firm is as well. So I'm not saying there's not value in being there. I just don't think those two should be tied together. And I honestly see that in 2025, we could see that kind of breaking apart, that you could have, if you're a realtor, you get access. If you're not a realtor, you can pay to get access as a non-member. So I think that is a big issue. And I think we're going to see that change over the year. Now, number 6, realtors are going to continue to see pressure on 3 fronts. And when I say realtors, I mean the NAR, the National Association. The 3-way agreement is going to continue to be a real issue with NAR. And the 3-way agreement is you have to be a member of the local association, the state association, and the national association. I don't think it's a big issue. I don't think it should be an issue. If I was a member of any union, electrical union or railroad union or whatever, you don't get to be just a member of the local union and not be a member of the national union. So I think courts are pretty clear on that. I think there'll be a lot of noise about this. I don't necessarily think it's going to go anywhere, but I think that will be one of the issues that we will continue to see. I think we will see new lawsuits and the threat of new lawsuits throughout 2025. And they will continue to find 3-way agreement, the tie with the MLSs. You're going to see clear cooperation. All of this is going to continue to be lawsuits because we know one thing for sure. Lawyers are not going to sit around and watch Michael Ketchmark make $500 million for himself and then say, well, it's all done. There's no other money to be had. Lawyers are going to see the money that Michael Ketchmark made, and they're going to try to figure out, how can I get the next big case? I've already mentioned, I think these tie-ins that builders have with mortgage companies and lenders or agents is going to be a problem. If you're requiring me to use your lender, your title company in order to buy your house, I think that's too closely tied together. And particularly if you think about it in this way, if I have to use a lender in order to get a mortgage to buy your house, am I going to get the best interest rate? And the answer is no, because if ABC Builder is tied to ABC Lender, then I know that ABC Lender is just going to give me par pricing. There's no incentive for them to try to give me the best price. Par price is all they're going to do. I can go anywhere else and get better pricing. And so what we're going to see is, I believe there'll be some lawsuits where these tie-ins are going to be sued because these consumers are going to be arguing that had I not been forced to use this lender by this builder, I could have gone on the open market and saved 1.5%, or 2% on my rate, times that out for 30 years, and you're talking big money. You make that into a class action, that's going to be billions of dollars. The other thing I think you're going to see is these tie-in with services. We've already seen this in Washington, D.C., where Washington, D.C. spanked was about 3 or 4 title companies that had tied title insurance with real estate agents and allowed them to share the title insurance, because we know what that is. It's nothing more than a sham. I mean, there's no value that the real estate agent brings to the title company other than pushing the clients to use them. It's paying for a referral. The lawyers, the title companies already have title companies set up. They already have underwriting. They have the education. They have the liability insurance. They're the ones who are doing all the work. They're the ones who are taking all the risk. And to share that money with a real estate brokerage firm is nothing more than paying them to send the referrals. The brokerage firm is doing nothing in these situations, absolutely nothing. And every time I ask people about this, well, what is a brokerage firm doing? And they're like, well, they're referring clients and getting paid for it. It's as clear as it can be. But people want to try to play with semantics and try to claim they're trying, oh, we've got this workaround. When you start a sentence with, I have a workaround, it automatically says, you know what you're doing is not right, and you're trying to come up with a way around it. So I think that's going to be another lawsuit. The other issue that the Realtor Association is going to continue to face is the decrease in membership. I don't think it's going to be anywhere close to the mass exodus that everybody predicted, but we are seeing people complaining and wanting to get out of the association. Now, I think that is wrong, because remember, the association is what provided you the coverage in the settlement of the lawsuit. If you're not a realtor member of brokerage, then you have no coverage in the lawsuit. So you don't like what they're doing at the Real Association, fine, go on your own, and then you have no coverage. But the bottom line is we know that the Real Association does provide value. We're going to talk about that when my numbers coming up here. But I don't see this mass exodus. I know people are pissed. I've said it many times. I was not happy with how NAR ran this thing. Not happy with how NAR has handled the sexual harassment suits. I gave the 10 ways that NAR could suck less. And one of them is moving out of Chicago. You know, we're in one of the most expensive areas to run a business. Move down to Nashville, move down to Greenville, South Carolina. I'm sure the people of Greenville would love to have NAR headquartered there, and it would be a ton cheaper than it is in Chicago. Get rid of the DEI movement. None of that has anything to do with real estate agents selling property, taking care of consumers. That's just political crap. Get rid of it. There's a lot of things that they can do there. Getting rid of the tie-in with the MLSs. So I think they're going to continue to be under pressure. I don't think that the pressure is gone now. I think it will continue, but I think they'll weather the storm. And I think these other associations that are trying to pop up and be alternatives will fail. Number 7, the Realtors Association will be needed more now than ever. More now than ever, the Realtor Associations are needed. Got a brand new administration here. This is the chance for NAR to go to the new administration, a real estate president, and shape the argument. You clearly had an attorney general who hated the real estate agency industry and wanted to make it as absolutely difficult as possible for you to make money. You've got a chance now to go to somebody who's open market philosophy and say, this is what we do, this is why we do it, this is why it's not antitrust, and this is why all this needs to go. You cannot go do that. Your brokerage cannot go do that. But the National Association of Realtors can go to Washington, get in front of President Trump, get in front of the new House, get in front of the new Senate, talk to the new Attorney General, and can start lobbying and making the argument that what real estate agents do is a valuable part of this country's economy, and that they're a necessary part of this economy, and that they don't sell houses. They navigate people from point A, if I want to buy a house, to point B, as I'm going to close on it. That is why the Realtor Association is as needed today as it's ever been. If you look back at the day when we had COVID, if it wasn't for your state association, SCR, Byron, Nick, Austin, Lindsay, and all them lobbying for us to keep our jobs and be declared essential, I shudder to think of how many of y'all would not even be in this business anymore. There's a lot of people listening to this podcast. This depended on real estate. So it's imperative that NAR gets out ahead of this thing with the new administration and shows the new administration how important real estate is and how important realtors are. And nobody else has the ability to have the reach that the NAR does. So support NAR, support RPAC, and let's see if this ship can be righted and they can make up for the bad issues in the past and make the day. And I think the possibility is definitely there that they can do that. All right, number 8, TikTok will survive, guys. I know there's some of you agents out there that are TikTok agents. I've never got into TikTok. I don't really get it. My kids can scroll on it all night long. To me, it's a big waste of time. We did go viral just recently. We posted a really cool TikTok video with my new marketing people here. They posted a dog working 9 to 5. It's a hilarious sketch. Just go to Blair Cato on TikTok. As of today, it has like almost 400,000 views, I think it is. So we went viral finally at Blair Cato. But TikTok does have value in real estate, and I think used properly, it can be. It doesn't always have to be funny and goofy. It can be educational, provide pictures of houses and so forth and information. But I do believe it will survive. TikTok is either going to have to put in a firewall to protect the confidential information of Americans from the Chinese government, or it's going to be sold. I think it can be sold. I could see somebody like Kevin Leary, or I could see somebody like Elon Musk coming in and buying it. Right now, you're in a bunch of gamemanship. You know, the government said it was going to go away. It was going to be shut down. And then you saw TikTok come out Saturday night and shut down everything and put the big letter up there that because the American government got rid of us, we're gone. They even did it a day earlier than they had to. And then Trump came in and said he's going to issue an executive order. And so they came out and said, well, it seems like we have some movement here, and so we're going to turn it back on. So we'll see what happens here in the next couple of weeks, a month. I think we have a 90-day stay on this under the executive order that was allowed to be done under the legislation. Trump clearly wants to keep it, says he wants to keep it. So I believe there's going to be something that happens here. More than likely, I bet it'll be sold off or something of that nature. I can't see the Chinese government just letting it go defunct and losing all the money that's involved in that. All right, number 9, AI is going to grow at unspeakable rates in real estate in 2025. CRE Tech says that artificial intelligence is shaping the future of real estate market. As we look ahead to 2025, AI is posed to revolutionize everything from property valuation to urban planning, tenant engagement, and market forecasting. WildNet technology says it will take the form of data collection, analysis, predictions, valuation, personalized recommendations, efficiencies, and automations. They actually listed some ways in which it would happen. AI would be used in listings, virtual tours, virtual staging, lead generations, fraud compliance, property searching, analysis, customer support, smart data processing, predictive analysis, portfolio optimization. So they're saying it's going to be used more than ever in real estate. And I truly believe that. You got ChatGPT is going to continue to help you fine tune those emails and your posts and things like that. Social media generation is going to continue to happen. We're seeing Canva AI and other things, programs that are using AI as well. You got conversational tools, AIs, that the person can communicate with you 24 hours a day on your website. It's amazing how many people don't recognize that as AI. I will say as part two of this prediction is there might be a backlash against AI, that if people think your stuff is AI generated, that the people in the videos aren't real, that the voices aren't real, that everything's stock photos, that could have a boomerang effect back on you. And so that takes away from your authenticity. I believe AI can be used to enhance what you do, but if it becomes a tool to do what you do, then it becomes a problem. If all of your social media posts is AI generated, AI people, AI scripts, AI voice, I think that's going to be an epic fail for you, and there'll be a backlash on you. But if you use it to help you write scripts, help you write the notes, help you do the tags, help you with producing the video and so forth, I think that's going to be fine. Let me give you a little bit of factual information about AI. In the real estate business, they're predicting it to grow to $1.047 billion by 2032. Over $1 billion will be in AI in real estate in 8 years. In 2024, we crossed the $437 million mark. AI is expected to crest $490 million in 2025, according to WildNet. And JLL Research said that they predict it actually to be over $630 million in real estate. And of course, the United States real estate market is who's driving this more than anybody. So yes, I think we will totally see AI, we'll see AI ruling the day. Whether you like it or not, you're going to have to become proficient in AI. Look, guys, I'm 55 years old. I don't know how to do anything on any of this technology, but I've had to learn AI. This podcast has some AI tools in it to help me better edit it, to help the sound generate better, to help with the show notes, to help do the chapter markers. So we're all having to learn how to do AI. So if I, at 55 years old, can take this program here, learn how to do a podcast and video, learn how to go through and edit it and do the show notes and all, you're simply going to have to do it. The agents who say, I'm not going to do it, I'm old, I don't want to deal with this. You're the same agent that went away back in the 90s when Al Gore invented the internet. It's a joke. He didn't really, but he claimed he did. But when we had the internet, I remember to this day, back in the early to mid 90s, people saying, internet's a waste of time, never going to use it, could be the worst thing that ever happened to real estate agents. I'm not going to try to learn how to use it. I don't care. And what did we find out? The internet was the number one thing that ever happened to real estate. One of the best things ever that happened in your industry. You no longer are just marketing to your local friends and family. You're marketing all over the country, and you're interacting with people all over the country. The agents who figured that out, those became the top agents in the MLS. Those who were top agents in MLS and said, I don't want to deal with it, they fell off. So either you're going to get on this AI gravy train and figure this stuff out and start using it, or you're going to be left behind. It's that simple. You don't have the ability to ignore AI anymore. Number 10. These are my fun predictions as we end today. I'll give you some fun predictions. The 2025 Super Bowl that's coming up here in February, I'm going to go out on a limb today. I'm predicting the Buffalo Bills get that Super Bowl win finally, and they do it by beating the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm just praying that the Chiefs don't get there because I don't want to see any more of Taylor Swift. I'm so sick of her. I'm hopeful that 2025 is the year that undoes Taylor Swift. I'm sick of her, ruining my football game. But Buffalo Bills over the Eagles. I don't like either team, not a fan. I would have much rather it been the Detroit Lions to finally get that victory. As y'all know, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. So my second NFL prediction is after years and years and years of searching, and after a huge epic failure of Deshaun, the Cleveland Browns will finally get a quarterback that will become a franchise quarterback. I don't know whether it's going to be in the draft or we're going to trade and get Cousins or somebody else. I don't know. The Browns will have their franchise quarterback in 2025, and they're going to make the playoffs. So turn it around from 3 wins to the playoffs. Everybody going to be talking about it. Now, Dodgers over the Tigers 2025 World Series. I don't know how you predict anybody but the Dodgers. They've only bought half of every possible free agent out there. It's absolutely ludicrous. I think their budget now, or their salary cap's like $380 million. The Yankees, I think, are like at 300. The Braves are in the 200s. The Dodgers are just spending ridiculous amounts of money, ruining baseball. Baseball has got to change, or my favorite sport is going to die. But the Dodgers are going to cakewalk this thing over the Tigers. They'll probably win in excess of 110 games this year. It's ludicrous and stupid what the Dodgers have done to baseball. I rooted for the Dodgers in the World Series in 2024, mainly because I hate the Yankees, who also try to buy pennants every year. But every free agent is Dodgers, Yankees, and Mets, and sometimes Philadelphia. Baseball fans are sick of it. When you start the season with 2/3 of the team having zero chance to even compete, something's wrong. The Pirates, the Marlins, these teams have absolutely no chance to compete whatsoever because they're not the big markets that LA and New York are. So either baseball fixes itself, or we'll start to see the end of 2025 of baseball as we know it. College football. Georgia over Texas in an all-SEC championship next year. Making the prediction early, Gamecocks and Clemson both make the playoffs next year. And Sellers is in the final 3 for the Heisman Trophy. So those are my predictions. And also we'll say there'll be some major changes in college football, either with the NIL or the transfer portal in 2025, because if not, the sport's dead as well. Can't keep paying these kids $3 million to play college football. More than you're paying professional players. Cannot happen. All right, guys, so that's my predictions for 2025. We'll see how many of them come true. Y'all can grade me next year and see if I get an A or an F. I hope all of them come true, particularly the football ones. I would love to see Georgia back on top and the Gamecocks and Clemson back in the football playoff. That'd be a lot of fun. I would like to see the Braves over the Dodgers, but we don't spend money apparently anymore. All right. Hope y'all have a great weekend and hope y'all enjoyed the show. If you'll please like us, subscribe to us, and share us, and come back again for another episode of Dish and Dirt. Y'all have a great weekend. Take care.